Noah had left me more times than I could count, for the same woman from his past. Even during our engagement party, he tried to walk out because she called. For the first time ever, I reached out, holding his hand and pleading softly. "Can't you stay, just until we finish the ceremony? The hall is full of friends and family waiting for us." Noah looked flawless in his white suit, every inch the groom. But there wasn't a trace of happiness on his face, just worry for another woman. He loosened his tie with a sigh. "Lena's not feeling well. I need to check on her. You know how delicate her health is." Delicate? Lena was always full of life and appetite. Her being sick again was a flimsy excuse, one that always worked on Noah. I held on to him stubbornly, not wanting to let go. But how do you hold someone who's already decided to leave? "Be a good fiancé and wait for me," he said coldly. "I promise I'll make it up to you." Then, like always, he left. Promising a future he had no intention of giving me. But this time, there would be no future. I chased after him, out of the venue and into the street. That's when it happened, a speeding car, the screech of tires, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed, my body wrapped in bandages. The doctor told me I had several scrapes and bruises, but nothing too serious. My parents were by my side, their faces stained with tears. "That Noah," my mother cried. "How could he run out like that? Look what happened to Anna because of him." "Thank God it wasn't worse," my father added. "If it had been, we'd never forgive him." I stared up at the hospital ceiling, dazed. "Noah? Who's Noah?" Before I could ask, the door opened. Uncle Harris and Aunt Mona, our family friends, walked in. Aunt Mona's face crumpled with guilt. "Oh Anna, I'm so sorry," she said. "It's our fault. We didn't raise Noah right. If we had, he wouldn't have done something so heartless." Uncle Harris squeezed my hand gently. "Don't worry, Anna. I'll speak to him. He needs to take responsibility." That name again, Noah. Everyone kept saying it. Over and over. But I didn't know who he was. I stayed silent as they fretted over me, asking if I was in pain, if I was hungry, if I needed anything. Aunt Mona's voice rose as she angrily cursed Noah. Finally, I turned to her and asked, "Who is this Noah you're talking about?" Silence fell. My mother gasped and rushed to call the doctor. After a round of tests, the diagnosis was clear: temporary amnesia, caused by brain trauma from the accident. Amnesia. I blinked slowly, absorbing the news. I remembered my parents. Aunt Mona. Uncle Harris. But Noah? Nothing. Not a single memory. Maybe that's because some people just aren't worth remembering. On the second day of my stay in the hospital, he showed up. Brought in by a guilt-ridden Uncle Harris and Aunt Mona, they hoped a visit might ease the tension. Everyone stepped out to give us privacy. He walked in hesitantly. When his eyes landed on me, bruised, bandaged, and pale, his brows knit in visible annoyance. Then, with a smirk, he said, "Anna, what game are you playing this time? Was this your big plan to win me back? You hurt yourself, then fake amnesia? Seriously?" I looked up at him. No doubt, he was striking. His face was worthy of movie screens, but the venom in his words tarnished everything beautiful about him. He scoffed, continuing with cruel confidence, "You're like some desperate soap opera character. No wonder Lena always warned me about how manipulative you are." I didn't believe her before, but now it all makes sense. Then, as if adding insult to injury, he dropped a final blow. "Lena's in the ICU. She had a heart attack after hearing about your accident. She's in worse shape than you and needs me more." So that's how it was. She mattered more. That explained everything. "Then go," I said calmly. "If she needs you that badly, go take care of her. My parents are here. I don't need anyone else." He blinked, as if unsure he heard me right. "What did you just say?" I said, "Go. Be with her." I'm being taken care of, and I don't want anything from you. Whether it was pride or disbelief, he stood frozen. Even if he had wanted to stay, I wouldn't have let him. After all, he was a stranger to me now. I didn't remember him and I was glad for it. He scowled and muttered, "You're really something, Anna. Acting cold is one thing, but dragging it on like this, you planning to cancel the wedding next?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. His presence felt like a shadow from a life I no longer recognized. He sat on the edge of the bed and tried to take my hand. The moment his skin touched mine, I recoiled as if burned. "What are you doing?" "Don't touch me," I said sharply. His face darkened. "I've been patient. I've let things slide. But now you won't even let me hold your hand?" In his eyes, I saw a mix of confusion and wounded ego, but not love. Not care. Just entitlement. And maybe, for the first time, I felt truly free from it. I stared at Noah, confused. From what I'd overheard and what my parents told me, we were never officially engaged. He left before the ceremony even began. So why was he here, talking as if we needed to break up? There was nothing to end, we never even began. And now, with no memory of him left, he was just a stranger again. Noah's face darkened at my response. He looked at me hard, as if trying to detect some trace of deception. But I wasn't pretending. I truly didn't remember him. And honestly? I didn't care to. I lifted my head, met his gaze boldly, and let him search all he wanted. Whatever he was hoping to see, he found nothing. Eventually, he sighed in resignation. "Anna, I know I messed up," he said. "I shouldn't have walked out on you during the engagement banquet. I admit I was wrong. But I get it, you're faking amnesia just to punish me, to make me regret it all. But what can I do? Lena has no one but me. Her health's always been fragile. If something happens to her, who'll be there? Do you want me to ignore someone's life just for an event?" I almost laughed out loud. Even without remembering our past, I could tell what kind of person Noah was. He had a talent for making selfish choices sound noble. Really? Skipping an engagement banquet out of fear for a life? Was he a doctor now? Would Lena's illness magically vanish if he showed up? Had he never heard of emergency services? He had no idea how disgusted I felt listening to him. Thinking he was winning me over, he kept going. "Anna, I know you're not the kind of girl who holds grudges. You'll forgive me, right? Once you're better, we'll host another engagement. Bigger, more beautiful. Just say yes." The audacity. He thought I'd still agree? I shook my head. "No," I said flatly. Noah blinked. "What did you say?" I said no. "I don't know you. And I don't want to be engaged to you." The look on his face shifted fast, confusion to disappointment, then to outright scorn. He stood up stiffly. "Anna, I always thought you were understanding. That's why I chose to be with you. I didn't expect you to be so jealous and bitter. What grudge are you holding against Lena? She's been sick her whole life. You knew from the start that I had to care for her. So that's how he was from the beginning? Then why the hell did I ever tolerate him? If I hadn't been so bandaged and sore, I'd have slapped him with all my might." Noah kept rambling, clearly more in love with his own voice than my silence. "Whether this amnesia is real or fake, or you're just using the accident to manipulate me, I can't abandon Lena. I'm leaving. If you ever stop being stubborn, I'll come back." And just like that, he turned and walked out. I could hear voices erupting just outside the room. Aunt Mona and Uncle Harris demanding that Noah stay and care for me. He refused, insisting Lena needed him more. Their voices grated on my nerves. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to block it all out. Let him go, I thought. Let him take care of Lena if he wants to. I don't need anything from him. Just the thought of that man taking care of me made my skin crawl. I must have dozed off in a haze because when I opened my eyes again, my mother was sitting beside me, her face clouded with concern. She looked down at me with a sigh, brushing hair gently from my forehead. "I really don't understand what's gotten into Noah this time," she murmured. "He's not the same. His parents were begging him to stay and help look after you, but he refused. Said he had to rush over to see that illegitimate girl from the Jones family again. Lena. Of course. But I remember," my mother continued, her voice softer now, "when you had that awful fever years ago. You were unconscious for 3 whole days. Your father and I were away on a business trip. And Noah. Noah never left your side. Not even once." I blinked slowly, still staring at the ceiling. "Oh," I replied flatly, "so that happened?" She nodded, clearly trying to make me remember. "Yes. He really cared for you back then. I even hired a top-tier nurse to watch over you, but Noah refused to leave it to anyone else. He insisted on doing it himself. And once you recovered, he collapsed from exhaustion and got sick himself. Foolish boy." She shook her head fondly but with exasperation. "We have money, Anna. One phone call and we could have had the best doctors and nurses in the city rushing over. But he insisted on doing it all himself, ended up looking completely miserable for it." I nodded silently, which clearly surprised her. "Anna," she said hesitantly, "have you really forgotten Noah? You don't remember anything about him at all?" I turned my head slightly to meet her gaze. The concern etched in her face told me she was wondering if I was faking it. I could see it in her eyes, the disbelief, the doubt. After all, how could I forget only him? "I mean it, Mom," I said seriously. "Noah is a complete stranger to me. I only just saw him today, and all I saw was someone arrogant and not exactly smart. Please don't bring him up to me again." She looked startled but finally nodded in resignation. "All right. If that's how you feel, I won't mention him anymore. But Anna, you still need to focus on your recovery, okay?" I gave her a small smile. "Of course. I have to get better soon. I won't damage my body for someone who doesn't matter to me anymore. That would be far too unfair to myself." Although my injuries looked alarming, they weren't as serious as they seemed. After 1 week of observation, the doctors finally cleared me for discharge. I was gathering my things and making my way through the hospital corridor when I ran into Noah and Lena. Lena was wearing a patient gown, clearly still admitted. Noah was right beside her, supporting her like she was made of glass. Her body leaned into his with practiced delicacy, her fingers curled around his arm as if she couldn't stand without him. The scene felt almost theatrical. The moment they noticed me, both of their faces froze like they'd been caught doing something they weren't supposed to. But unlike Noah, I remembered Lena. She was the illegitimate daughter of the Jones family, brought back after her biological mother passed away when she was just 3. In that house, daughters were as common as wallpaper, and Lena was never given much attention. She'd always seemed quiet, almost invisible. I had no real bond with her. No reason to greet her. So I didn't. I simply walked past them. But a sharp voice rang out behind me. "Anna, how dare you ignore me?" I turned around, blinking. "Excuse me, do I know you?" Noah looked like I'd slapped him across the face. His jaw tightened, teeth clenched, but for once, he was speechless. He stared at me with a venomous glare, as if I were the villain in this story. Just as he opened his mouth to retaliate, Lena doubled over in a sudden coughing fit. Immediately, Noah's attention snapped to her. He rushed to her side, rubbing her back like she might break. The tenderness in his gaze was almost nauseating. They looked so perfect together, so absorbed in each other. I figured they'd forgotten I even existed. I turned to leave, not wanting to be a third wheel in their little hospital drama, but her voice stopped me again. "Anna, I'm sorry." Lena clutched her chest, her voice weak but theatrical. "This is all my fault. My sickly body is the reason you and Noah never got engaged. I know how wrong that is. But please, please don't hate Noah for choosing me. I have no one else. He's the only friend I have. If he turns his back on me, I don't know how I'll survive. Right. The helpless girl act. It made sense why she clung so tightly to Noah, the heir to the wealthy Smith family. In a house where she was always overlooked, of course she'd latch onto someone like him. I opened my mouth, ready to tell her she had nothing to worry about. In fact, I'd happily bless their miserable love story. But before I could say a word, Noah beat me to it. Lena, no one can take me away from you, he said softly, and then turned to glare at me. Not even Anna. There it was again. That triumph flashing in Lena's eyes. Like she'd won something. As if this was some competition and I was the loser. I met her gaze calmly and said, if you two are friends, then it's only natural for him to care for you. Don't worry, I won't stand in the way. You need him more than I ever did. Her face lit up like a Christmas tree. But Noah didn't share her joy. In fact, he looked angry. His jaw tightened again, and he bit his lip, his whole face tightening with frustration. Apparently, even letting go was an offense now. Then Lena added, ever so pitifully, Anna. I knew you still blamed me. I knew you'd still say such hurtful things. Please, can't you forgive me? Her words seemed to click something in Noah's mind. His eyes turned ice cold. Anna, you've gone too far. Your jealousy and bitterness. There's a limit. Can't you see Lena's condition? She doesn't need more stress. Leave. Just, leave us alone. With that, he helped Lena down the hall, not even glancing back. I watched them go, and surprisingly, I felt no pain. Only a flicker of amusement. A moment ago, he was desperate to keep me around. Now he was shoving me away like an unwanted memory. But Noah, here's what you don't seem to get. I'm not a dog you can summon or dismiss whenever you please. This time, when I walk away, I'm not coming back. Recovery, as it turned out, had its perks. Once I was home, life became a peaceful blur of snacks, variety shows, binge-worthy dramas, and long hours spent playing online games. It was indulgent, lazy, and honestly, blissful. As soon as my health stabilized, my parents suggested that I go abroad for an extended recovery, and I agreed eagerly. I picked an island full of sunshine, salt water, and soft sands. I soaked up every moment. My skin turned a warm, sun-kissed bronze, and even then, I still didn't want to leave. But eventually, I returned refreshed, recharged, and, for the first time in a long while, genuinely content. To welcome me home, my parents threw a celebration dinner. Aunt Mona and Uncle Harris were among the guests. Their presence wasn't casual. Both of them looked uneasy, especially Uncle Harris. It didn't take a genius to figure out why. They were here to apologize. As expected, they offered their regrets and tried to smooth things over. I understood. Over the years, our family has sustained their business through numerous partnerships and lucrative projects. The last thing they wanted was for Noah to threaten that flow of opportunity. But I wasn't here to play vindictive heiress. Business was business. I wasn't the type to mix it with personal drama. Especially not drama I'd left in the rearview. Honestly, how could I be angry over someone I didn't even remember? I raised my glass with a polite smile. Uncle Harris, please don't worry. Our family's partnership won't be affected. His eyes lit up with relief. That's wonderful to hear. Then came the question I was dreading. And what about Noah? You haven't contacted him since you returned. I can tell, he really regrets what happened. Would you consider giving him another chance? Regret? That was rich. Just this morning, I'd scrolled past a photo he posted online, him in the kitchen, making porridge for Lena like some kind of domestic prince. He looked so proud of himself, sleeves rolled up, all tender care and romantic lighting. If he was regretting anything, it clearly wasn't about me. I kept my expression calm and replied with a soft smile, Uncle Harris, as you know, I have amnesia. I don't remember who Noah is. So please, there's no need to bring him up anymore. The shift in his face was immediate, his expression fell, pale and resigned. He nodded slowly. I understand, Anna. I suppose, it's just Noah's misfortune. He never deserved you. He's right about one thing, Noah really didn't deserve me. After the welcome home banquet, I truly believed I'd closed the chapter on Noah for good. I was wrong. That very night, my phone rang, and it was him. Anna, I gave you a month of cold treatment so you could reflect. But this? This is how you act. What was that performance in front of my parents today? You're still angry I didn't show up at your celebration dinner, aren't you? His tone was laced with arrogant frustration. He didn't even wait for me to answer. Lena had a stomachache and suddenly wanted to eat my millet porridge. Her health isn't stable, you know that. She needs someone by her side. Can't you stop being so petty for once? He barreled on, like I owed him something. Call my parents and explain what's really going on. If you're seriously planning to cut me off like this, fine. But don't blame me when I never speak to you again. Never speak to me again? What a gift that would be. I almost laughed. Please, I muttered, go ahead and never speak to me again. You're still not done being childish? He barked, his voice rising. I didn't let him finish. I hung up. Why on earth would I waste another second listening to Noah's delusional rants? He's nothing to me now. He ghosted me for a month and had the nerve to say it was to help me reflect. Reflect on what? Forever entertaining a garbage relationship? Without a shred of hesitation, I opened my contacts and blocked his number. It felt cleaner. Lighter. Like finally tossing out the last bit of rotting garbage. Noah can stay gone for good. I didn't immediately go back to work at my family's company. My parents, still shaken by my recent accident, wanted me to continue recovering at home for a while longer. But honestly, I was getting bored out of my mind. On a whim, I picked up my phone and called Era, my best friend, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Not long after, Era pulled up in her signature flashy Lamborghini. She strutted in, sunglasses on, full of fire. I guess you really did forget about Noah if you had the guts to call me. I blinked. What do you mean? Era raised an eyebrow. You seriously don't remember? From her explanation, the truth hit me like a slap. After I started dating Noah, he decided that my old friends weren't good enough for me. According to him, they lacked ambition and were a bad influence. So he made sure I cut ties with all of them. I hadn't seen or talked to Era in 3 whole years. I stared at her, stunned. What kind of spell had I been under? Era crossed her arms and gave me a knowing look. And for the record, none of us lack ambition. We come from solid backgrounds, run our own businesses, invest, hustle. Just because we don't worship him doesn't mean we're beneath him. Then her voice turned sharper. Honestly, I'm glad you forgot. I never thought you and Noah would last anyway. And Lena, ugh. That illegitimate daughter of the Jones family? She knows she can't make it on her own, so she clings to Noah like a leech. She scoffed. Unfortunately, he's too blind to see it, and clearly, he has no sense of boundaries. But fine, if they're that attached, let them stay together. I let out a soft laugh, nodding. You're right. I've already let them be. Era tapped the passenger seat of her car with a grin. Hop in. I'm taking you to our class reunion. I raised an eyebrow. A class reunion? That doesn't sound all that exciting. She laughed, eyes twinkling. Oh, but it is. Guess who's going to be there? Michael. Yep, the campus heartthrob himself. He's finally back from abroad. That made me pause. Michael? I thought he had settled overseas for good. He did, Era replied, smirking. But apparently, he's home now. And come on, don't tell me you forgot him, too? You've already erased Noah from your brain, but Michael? I chuckled. No. Michael's not someone I can forget. How could I? He was the brightest star in the university, the unrivaled presence in every debate competition. Michael was the name whispered with awe and admiration in the hallways. Not just because of his stunning looks but because he was brilliant. He aced every exam, dominated on the sports field, and performed a piano solo that left the entire auditorium spellbound. Michael wasn't just the guy everyone liked. He was the one no one could reach. A high mountain peak, admired from afar but never to be touched. When he went abroad after graduation, it felt like an entire era ended. We all assumed he was gone for good. I never imagined I'd get to see him again in this lifetime. Just hearing his name made my heart flutter. Curiosity. Excitement. Maybe even a little hope? Okay, I said, a smile slowly spreading across my face. Let's go. Let's see what became of the legend. The class reunion turned out to be much grander than I had imagined. It was practically a full alumni gathering. Many of our university classmates had grown into successful professionals, and someone had even gone all out, renting a 5-star hotel for the event. Era grabbed my hand and pulled me inside. Come on. They said Michael will be performing on the piano later. She was visibly excited, and I let her drag me through the lavish lobby. But just as we reached the ballroom entrance, Era abruptly stopped in her tracks. I raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? Era forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. Oh, nothing. Just didn't expect Noah to show up. And he brought Lena too. What terrible luck. I looked ahead. Sure enough, there he was, Noah, looking just as striking as ever, with Lena by his side, gazing up at him like he hung the moon. Era muttered under her breath, turns out they didn't just invite Michael to perform tonight. Noah's doing a solo dance too. So that's how it was. This reunion wasn't just about nostalgia, it was a showcase of the university's 2 former heartthrobs, each with their own fan base and spotlight. As the music began, Noah took to the stage and danced with elegance and precision. He moved like he owned every inch of the floor, each step calculated yet graceful. For a moment, the entire ballroom was held in a trance. When the performance ended, the crowd erupted in applause. He had delivered a flawless performance. Era gave a low whistle. They really know how to stir up the mood. Having Noah open with a solo dance? That's some top-tier event planning. Not bad, really. He just has awful taste in women. After the performance, we tried looking for Michael but didn't spot him anywhere in the crowd. Eventually, we gave up and decided to find a table to sit down and enjoy dinner. But just as we were about to sit, someone stepped into our path. Noah and Lena, still glued to each other. He looked at me with a spark in his eyes and said, "Anna, are you here looking for me?" I knew it. You couldn't possibly forget about me. Lena stood behind Noah, looking at me with a guarded expression. I found it all extremely boring. Why were these people so full of themselves? I turned my head coldly. I'm not familiar with you, so why would I come to see you? In fact, I added, pointing toward the piano on stage, I came to see him. On the stage, Michael's slender fingers danced across the keys, drawing out beautiful music. After 5 years, seeing him again, it was like a dream. He was still so wonderful, elegant, and noble, just like I had imagined. Anna, why are you still being stubborn with me? You're not even acquainted with Michael. Do you really need to use him as an excuse to confront me? Noah bit his lip, his expression filled with grievance. I shook my head. I'm not being stubborn with you. I really don't know you and I hope you won't bother me anymore. Era chimed in from beside me. Exactly. Stop clinging to my best friend. She doesn't know you. Noah's expression twisted. Anna, are you really going to embarrass me like this? I was wrong about the engagement banquet, but I've already apologized to you. Why do you keep holding on to it? Lena stepped in, standing protectively in front of Noah. If you want to blame someone, blame me. It was wrong of me to stand in your way. You can punish me however you want, just please stop tormenting Noah. These two. Do they have a problem? Why were they bothering me? I couldn't take it anymore. I've already told you I'm not tormenting him. Because I don't even know him. We're not acquainted at all. You two can do whatever you want, just don't come in front of me and be a nuisance. My words completely shattered Noah. He snapped, fine. Great. You're really something. If you don't know me, then you don't know me. I don't know you either. It's better if you never come looking for me again so I won't look down on you. With that, he grabbed Lena's hand and stormed away. Era clicked her tongue as she watched their backs. He really thought you two were just having a spat. Maybe he never believed you actually forgot him. I turned my gaze back to Michael, still shining brightly in the crowd, and casually said, "Who cares?" Era nodded. Yeah, who would want to deal with him? Let him think whatever he wants. He has nothing to do with me anymore. The class reunion was just a formality. After Michael finished his performance, the reunion lost its meaning to me. As a truly elite figure, Michael was surrounded by many people. Era nudged me and asked if I wanted to go over and say hello. I shook my head. We weren't even acquaintances, how could I casually say hello to Michael? I was just a passerby looking up to him. Speaking to him or even trying to establish a connection with him was something I wouldn't dare to imagine. After spending some time with me, Era went to play with familiar classmates. I sat in the corner quietly drinking my wine. Noah, as if intentionally putting on a show for me, sat nearby with Lena, speaking intimately. When Noah's joyful laughter reached me again, I put down my glass, wanting to leave this place. Perhaps I shouldn't have come here today, it was too boring. As I was about to get up, a pleasant voice came from above me. May I sit here? This voice sounded somewhat familiar. I looked up and saw the owner of the voice. Michael looked at me with a smile, softening his cold demeanor. Of course, in that moment, I didn't know where to put my hands and feet. I didn't expect Michael to come and initiate a conversation with me. Anna, why didn't you come over to say hello earlier? Did you forget about me? I quickly shook my head. Who could forget Michael? I just didn't know that you knew me. Michael smiled gracefully. Of course I know you. Anna, from the economics department. We used to see each other often at the library. I remembered. Back then, I did see Michael frequently at the library. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but he always sat not too far from me, but he seemed so aloof, I never dared to say hello to him. I noticed that you liked reading novels in the library, especially Edgar Allan Poe stories. So, have you become a detective now? Michael's teasing quickly brought me back to my younger years. It was true that I loved reading various detective novels back then, analyzing the intricacies of the cases. I thought it was just a little hobby, but it turned out he had noticed. Unconsciously, I felt that our distance had narrowed significantly. He was no longer the distant godlike figure, but the handsome prince sitting in the corner of the library. I actually didn't like going to the library, but Michael's presence kept motivating me. I thought, if someone as excellent as him was still working so hard, why shouldn't I make the most of my time and strive as well? Shared memories brought the two of us closer. I really liked you back then. You're not only very beautiful but also serious and diligent, Michael said to me. I smiled. Actually, I should be the one saying that to you. You're the most captivating and diligent person in the entire university. You're so outstanding, yet you're still striving. How could I be lazy? Upon hearing my words, Michael became ecstatic. He exclaimed, Anna, so that's how it was? Do you know I thought the same way? I saw you going every day, and I couldn't bring myself to slack off either. Who would have thought we were encouraging each other? In that moment, we looked at each other and laughed. It turns out that we were both striving for each other back then. What a strange fate this is. Ah! Michael suddenly exclaimed. I quickly looked behind him and saw Noah with a grim look on his face, holding an empty wine glass. He had intentionally spilled red wine on Michael. I was furious. Noah, what are you doing? Noah's eyes turned red. Anna, I was wrong. Come back with me, please. I won't leave you for someone else again. I looked at Noah coldly. You should be apologizing to Michael, not me. How could you pour wine on someone? Noah clenched his teeth and refused to apologize. Michael, do you know that Anna is my fiancée? What do you mean by getting close to her like this? Have you no shame? Michael elegantly stood up, casually patting the wine stain on his clothes. Then he said to Noah, then that means you're still not married, so I still have the right to pursue her. As soon as these words came out, Noah seemed like a lit explosive. You dare? He reached out and was about to punch Michael. But I quickly grabbed Noah's hand and looked at him with disgust. Noah, have you gone mad? Are you really insane? Let me say it one last time, I don't know you. I truly don't know you at all. I am not your fiancé, and we have never been engaged. Please stop bothering me. I have absolutely no feelings for you. Now you've left such a terrible impression on me, worse than a complete stranger. Upon hearing my words, Noah seemed struck by lightning. His whole body trembled inexplicably. He stared at me in panic. It was as if he finally realized that my amnesia was real and that he was about to lose me completely. Noah couldn't handle the emotional blow and stormed out of the venue. Lena tried to support him, but he shoved her away in frustration. Strangely, she didn't seem upset and continued to follow him. Their dramatic exit drew curious stares from everyone around, and I could feel the attention shifting toward Michael and me. Not wanting to be the center of gossip, Michael offered, would you like me to take you home? I gave him a gentle smile. I'd love that. By the time we arrived at my place, he turned toward me, his expression serious. Anna, I meant what I said earlier. I blinked, a little confused. What did you say? He hesitated just for a second, then looked at me with quiet determination. I said, I want to pursue you. I like you, Anna. Coming back made me realize those feelings never truly faded. So, if it's okay with you, I'd like to pursue you now. His eyes were filled with sincerity, reflecting only me, as if no one else existed in his world. Somehow, without even thinking too hard about it, I nodded. In that instant, his entire face lit up, his joy radiating like stars. Then he leaned in, gently pressing a soft kiss to my cheek. The moment our skin touched, I felt my heart skip, a flutter I hadn't experienced in a long time. Anna, forgive me, he whispered with a grin. I'm just really, really happy. Keep your phone nearby, because I'm going to start chasing you from now on. Michael was a man of his word and of swift action. In the days that followed, he showered me with his affection in the most thoughtful ways, breakfast dates that started our mornings with laughter, casual lunches that brightened the afternoons, and tender goodnight moments that lingered long into the evenings. Every little gesture felt like something out of a dream, sweet routines that I'd never had the chance to experience before. For the first time, I understood what it meant to be deeply cherished. Loving him was effortless. He was the kind of man anyone could fall for, and yet he had chosen me. Wrapped up in his affection, I found myself happily caught in his world. Not long after, I decided to bring him home to meet my parents. To say they were smitten would be an understatement. Their faces lit up with joy the moment they saw him. Dinner was a cascade of warm gestures. Michael, try this beef. It's delicious. My father offered. Here, have more prawns, they're your favorite, right? My mother chimed in. Oh. This red wine's been aged perfectly, you'll love it. My father added. He was practically being force-fed, and yet he smiled graciously through it all. After dinner, we stepped outside the villa for a walk. Holding his hand, I asked teasingly, were you overwhelmed by my parents just now? He chuckled and shook his head. Not at all. I loved it. Honestly, Anna, that's what home should feel like. He paused, then added, I think our families would really get along. They're both such warm people. Hearing that made my heart flutter. Maybe it's time to arrange a meeting between them. The moment I said it, Michael looked adorably flustered, his usual calm demeanor shaken. I couldn't resist, I leaned in and kissed him. The night was beautiful, the moment perfect until it wasn't. A loud voice shattered the serenity. Anna. Michael? Are you two actually together? We turned around to see Noah, his face twisted with disbelief and bitterness. You have no shame, Michael, he spat. I narrowed my eyes. Why are you yelling? Who are you to come here and insult my boyfriend? Noah looked shaken for a moment before bursting out, I'm Noah. Your fiancé. How can you forget me? How can you just let some other guy take my place? I scoffed. Who says I can't forget you? Let me make it clear. Don't come back into my life again. And Michael is not some guy, he's the man I love. I held Michael's hand even tighter, as if anchoring myself to the only thing that mattered. Noah let out a bitter laugh. His eyes zeroed in on our clasped hands. Very well, Anna. I hope you never remember me and never regret it. I smiled coolly. No regrets here. Michael and I are getting engaged next month. You're welcome to attend if you can handle it. Noah turned pale. His lips trembled slightly before he forced out, then, congratulations. But I won't be attending. I'm also getting engaged too. Lena. Congratulations to you too, I replied without missing a beat. The words hit him harder than I expected. He stumbled for a moment, then turned around and left without another word. I wasn't lying when I said I wanted to build a future with Michael. I truly meant it. So, on a beautiful, sunlit day, we made our engagement official. Just as Michael had told me, his parents flew back from overseas to attend the ceremony. Both sets of parents hit it off immediately, their warmth and laughter blending perfectly. Michael walked toward me, dressed in an elegant suit, his presence as radiant as the day itself. He held my hand so tightly, as though he never intended to let go. In that moment, I felt everything fall perfectly into place, but midway through the celebration, something caught my eye. I thought I saw Noah's parents in the crowd. Curious, I leaned toward Era and whispered, didn't Noah say he was getting engaged today too? Why aren't his parents with him? Era scoffed, rolling her eyes. Noah is out of his mind. I don't know what he sees in that woman. What can she do besides pretending to be sick all the time? She's just a discarded daughter from the Jones family. He insisted on marrying her, and now the Smiths have cut him off. She paused, then added, his younger brother's still abroad, finishing his degree. He's coming back soon. I nodded slowly, finally understanding. So that's what happened. Seems like everyone in the Smith family has their head on straight, except Noah. Lena, that scheming, manipulative woman, is the last person I'd imagine becoming someone's good wife. I still can't believe a respectable family like the Smiths raised someone as reckless and blind as Noah. But honestly? That's not my concern anymore. I glanced at Michael, standing proudly beside me, handsome, kind, devoted. With him in my life, I no longer had the time, nor the interest, to waste another thought on a man who had become nothing more than a stranger. Michael and I got married just 3 months after our engagement. It later turned out that Noah, ever desperate to keep pace, got married on the exact same day. Era told me about it, but honestly, I didn't give it a second thought. After our wedding, Michael whisked me away on a month-long honeymoon in the Maldives. The time we spent there was like a dream. When the vacation ended, Michael proposed that we expand the family business overseas. Both our families were fully supportive, and before long, we had launched a new branch targeting the international market. That's how we ended up living abroad for the next 3 years. When we finally returned home, we brought back more than just memories. Now, we had a sweet little daughter cradled in my arms. Era came rushing the moment she heard we were back. Let me see her, she squealed, practically snatching my 2-year-old daughter. Wow, she's adorable. Era smothered her with kisses before giving her a massive, over-the-top doll. While Michael played with our daughter, Era leaned in and whispered like she was delivering hot celebrity gossip. Guess what? Noah and Lena are divorced. My eyebrows lifted in surprise. Lena agreed to a divorce? Era rolled her eyes. You really don't know that woman. She's obsessed with money. She actually thought the Smith family was bluffing when they kicked Noah out. Thought once tempers cooled, they'd welcome him back. But they didn't? Not even close. They froze his assets, cancelled all his cards. He had to find an actual job just to support himself and Lena. She lasted a year before she couldn't take it and demanded a divorce. I couldn't help but laugh. That sounds exactly like her. Right? Era snorted. She told Noah outright, if you weren't the Smith heir, I wouldn't have looked at you twice. She's always been that way. Noah was just too blind to see it. Era leaned closer, lowering her voice. You don't know the half of it. After the divorce, Noah completely broke down. On the day they signed the papers, he was drunk out of his mind and drove his car straight into Lena. I gasped. Did she survive? Barely. She's alive, but both her legs are paralyzed. That's tragic. Isn't it? She wanted to marry rich and ended up ruined. And Noah? He was charged with DUI and intentional injury. Got sentenced to 10 years. The Smith family disowned him. Can you believe it? Noah, the campus heartthrob, golden boy, now a convicted felon. I shook my head. How did it come to this? Era shrugged. Maybe it was always going to. He made his choices. That night, after we'd tucked our daughter into bed, I turned over and snuggled into Michael's arms. He shifted slightly, glancing at the crib. Our daughter's right there, he whispered, flustered. I giggled. It's just a hug. He smiled too. What were you and Era whispering about today? I nestled deeper into his warmth. I told her that loving you was the best decision I've ever made. Michael held me tighter, his voice low and full of affection. And I feel exactly the same.